Anybody ever played the game Sequence before? Sequence? No? Like with the states or the numbers? No? Okay, you should try it out. It's a decent game. Okay, Sequence is just an order of counting numbers here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes they have a pattern, sometimes they don't. Okay, we will be, starting tomorrow, we are going to talk about sequences that have patterns. Today, there's not going to be a pattern. All right? There's two types of sequences. There's a finite sequence. Think of it as it ends. Does everyone see there's 4 terms in here? That's it. It ends. All right? Versus infinite sequence, it goes on forever. Keeps going on. Might have a pattern, might not. Okay? So you have an infinite sequence that keeps going on, and you have a finite sequence which ends. Now, here's what we have to get into today, is the actual terms of the sequence. All right? It's each number in the sequence, and there's special notation for it, which I'm going to go over very, very slowly today, because I need you to pick that up before we go anywhere in this unit. So everyone see my sequence above here, 2, 11, 20, 29, 38. Very simple question. What's the 4th term of that sequence up there? What term is in the 4th spot up there? 29. Everyone agree it's 29? Okay. How do I write that the 4th term is 29? Here's our notation. We're going to have an A here with a subscript of the term we're talking about. So the 4th term. Everyone take a look at what I have right up there. That signifies the 4th term. That's how we're going to write it from now on. The 4th term with the subscript of 4. And we said Jessica, what'd you say the 4th term was? 29. So equals 29. Okay, so I know brand new notation. We're going to take it slow. So is everyone all right? 4th term. All right. So what would the 7th term be up there? Well, first, how would I write the 7th term? A with a subscript of 7. 7th term. Now, if you count, I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms up there. But can you see a pattern? There is a pattern to that one. And what is it? What do I do to the previous term to get to the next one? Add 9 to it. So can you find the 7th term for me right now? 7th term. And that 7th term ends up being, I don't even know. Who's got number 11 in here? 56? We getting 56? We're all good? Okay, any issues? I know you guys can find these numbers very easily. It's just this new notation now. All right, so let's keep talking about that new notation. Okay, I have a chart set up for you. Here's the given term. What would be the term after it? All right, so what's this telling me right here? A with a subscript of 4. That's talking about the 4th term. So what would be the term after the 4th term? 5th term. How would I write it? A subscript with a 5. Here's where we get crazy. All right. Let's say it's A, could be any number there. Okay. A subscript N could be any number. Well, how'd you guys go to 4 to 5? You just added 1. So guess what I'm going to do to N? So if A sub N is the term, the next term would be A subscript N plus 1. Yeah, that's the next term. So here's the term we're at. The next term would be N plus 1. All right, what if the term I'm at now is N plus 1? N plus 2. So I'd write that as, okay, I'm on N plus 1. The next term is A subscript N plus 2. Yep. From here now, N plus 4. Now I want to start hearing from some people. So N plus 4, next term would be number 8. A subscript N plus 5. Yep. Okay. Totally different notation we could do this in. You guys are used to the A with the subscript now. I could do F of the term. So this is the 6th term. Don't confuse this, because I know some of you guys are thinking back to last year, and you guys kind of saw this last year, yes, where you would plug in 6. All right. Now, because we're talking about sequences and series here, this is the 6th term. So what's the next term? 7th, and I can denote that as F of 7. That's the next term. So if I have F of N, Next term would be f of n plus 1. And if I have f of n plus 1, the next one would be f of, you got, all right, we're good so far. Any issues with either type, take a look, either type of notation, because we're going to use both. Me personally, I like this a ton, but we're going to see this, so we got to deal with it. All right, ready to get rolling now. Let's apply it. I got this finite sequence down below. It ends. All right, here's what I want you to do. First one, find a subscript 2. What's that telling me? Second term. So go ahead, pick the second term off. What is it? 7. And add it to the, what's this terminology here? 6th term, which is 31. Okay, so the second term, 7, 6th term, 31 for a grand total, 38. How are we doing right now? Before we get a little bit more complicated on this terminology. How are we doing, all right? Good? Okay, next one. This signifies the 4th term, which is 19. Okay, now we did a little change up on you. What's this telling me to do right here? This whole thing, 2a subscript 6. Where do you go? Settle down. Hannah wants to talk. Go. 2 times the 6th term. What is the 6th term, Hannah? 31. Ooh, okay, I see you. All right, I see you, kids. Good. So we got 81, 19, and 62. My math's correct? How you guys feeling, all right? All right, let's look at C now. A subscript n, a subscript n minus 3, but I'm telling you n equals 7. So what are we looking to plug in for this one right here? The what term? If n equals 7. 7th term. All right? 7th term would be what? 37. And now what's this a n minus 3? That's 3 terms before the 7th one, isn't it? 3 terms before the 7th one gives me what term? 4th term. And the 4th term? 19. And we end up with 56. Go ahead, anything here. Stop. Everyone stop, take a breather. Anything we want to ask here? Anything. Yes, go ahead, Jess.
How will we know when f of variable equals sequence versus y?
Because good question. You'll see there's no function to plug into. Okay? You'll see the sequence, and I'll say f of 6.
So
there's nothing to plug that 6 into. All right, so I know it's basically the context of the problem. Okay? Okay, remember, n is what? 7. So really, if I plug that in, that's a subscript 7 minus 3, right? Which is the same thing as a to a subscript 4, the 4th term. Good? Good questions. Anything else? Because we're about to get real nuts. Everyone having a nice day today? Good to hear. All right, now what we got to talk about. Real quickly, don't go back. I'll just leave it up here. You guys found a pattern in this first sequence for me, right? It was what? Add what? 9. You added 9 to the previous term, right? Added 9 to the previous term. I'll do it one more time. You added 9 to the... Okay, so when there's a pattern to the previous term, we call that a recursive formula. All right, when I'm doing something to the previous term to get to the next term, we call it a recursive formula. There's 2 parts to it. You will always be given, most of the time, the first term. Okay, so everybody take a look right here on all the different ways to write a recursive formula. you will always be given the first term. Okay, always be given the first term. Then you'll always be given the pattern. What do I do to the previous term to get to the next term? Okay, so if you take a look at this one right here, take a look at my first one. Everyone see A subscript n. So this is telling me the following. I'm going to read it for you. This is telling me to find any term, you take the, what's n minus 1 going to be? Term before, previous term, and add 4 to it. So you take the previous term and add 4. All right, that's what that A sub n minus 1 means. And I'm going to have you denote it here. That's the previous term. Now, there's another way you may see it as well. And I know this is going to get confusing, but please just bear with me and let us do a couple examples. If you want to find the next term, right? That's what n plus 1 means to us. The next term, you take the, now this represents the previous term, A sub n. So it all determines where it's who it's paired with. Okay? If A sub n, if A subscript n and A subscript A n minus 1 are paired together, that's the previous term. If you have n plus 1, this one's the previous term. Okay, it's telling you how to find a term. You take the previous term and add 4. Okay, let's do an example here. All right, let's just do an example. Take a look at my sequence that I have. Everyone see the pattern real quick? What's this telling me? What's this notation for? F of 6. And this, Jess, this kind of goes back to your question. I know I'm not plugging in 6 anywhere, right? So what's that telling me? I'm looking for the 6th term. Nice. So F of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 35. Can we do that? Are we all comfortable doing that and answering that part? Okay, now let's get to this recursive formula business. Write a recursive formula for this sequence. So the first thing you guys need to give me is the first term. Recursive formula always has the first term accompanied with it. So the first term up here, 10. So I need to know that, what the first term is. Now you got to write out, and this is where I'm going to help you. What do you do to the previous term to get to the next term? What's the pattern? Add 5. Now I'm going to show you how to write it correctly. Okay, add 5. So to show that I'm adding 5 to the previous term, we can do any which way up here. I'm going to do the first way. So we're going to say A sub n equals, take your previous term. If A sub n is where I'm at, how do I write the previous term? How do I write the previous term? If I'm on n right now, what's the term before it? N minus 1. So I'm going to say, define any term, take the previous term, and what was the pattern? Add 5. Please make sure when you do add 5, it's not down here in the subscript, because I'm not doing that. I'm adding 5 to the actual term. So there's one way. Everybody all right? I want to show, so you can see everything right now. I want to write it a different way now. A sub 1 still 10. That's never going to change. Now I want to say A sub n plus 1 equals this. How is that going to change now? How do I find the next term? If this is the next term, what's the previous one? It's not n minus 1 anymore. It's, take a look up above. If I have n plus 1, what's the previous term? N plus 1 will be A subscript n. Yep. And what are you doing to that one? Still adding. Both mean the same thing, guys. Both mean the same thing. Take a look at both of them right now. They both mean the same thing. Term we're on, take the previous term. If you want to find the next term, take the previous term. Take a look. Anything you want to ask here? Because I want to do one more notation-wise. Anything? Okay, let's use the let's use the function notation now here. So f of 1 equals 10. Do you want to try it out on your own here? You can pick either one here. So I'll do f of n. If you want to find any term, you take the previous. How do you write previous if f of n is the one I'm on? F of n minus 1. And what am I doing to it? Adding 5. So here are 3 different ways you could write that recursive formula. Questions? Don't give up on me here. Do not give up on me. Going? Okay. With it, whether you want to do it by yourself or in your group right now, find me the value of a subscript 2 plus 3 times a subscript 4 right now. Go ahead. In your group right now, on your own, doesn't matter. Using this sequence I've provided. So find a subscript 2 plus 3 times a subscript 4. Good, guys. Good. Nice. How's 78? All right. 78. Any issues, questions? Okay. Because the answers are going to vary here, can you write a recursive formula here for me? First off, what's the pattern? Figure out the pattern before I write the formula. What do I do the previous term? Multiply by 2. So whichever way you do it, I don't care which form you pick, you still have to give me the first term, whether that's a sub 1 or f of 1. You still need to give me the first term as 3. Now from here, it's up to you. How do we want to do this? You want which form do we like here? Do we have a preference or first? Okay, we can do it. Ready? So a sub n equals. How do I write previous term, Jess? If we're going to do it, start it off with a subscript n, we got to do a subscript n minus 1. Yep. And what are we doing in the previous term? Okay, and you can show that 2 different ways. Times 2, totally appropriate. Just make sure it's not in the subscript. Or anybody else know how I could? Yeah, just like we do with variables. We could put the 2 in front if you wanted to. It's up to you. Okay, just so you know, function notation, I do want to show it all. So f of 1 equals 3. F of n would equal 2 times the previous term. That's how I would write it like that. Okay, 2 times the previous term, if I wrote it in that function notation. Anything, guys. Anything. Because here's the last 4 problems. I'm going to give you the first term. I'm going to give you the recursive formula. You give me a certain set of terms. All right, so let's try it out. Now I'm going to hear from all you guys. Okay, so I have given you the recursive formula right here. Here's the recursive formula. There it is, something we're familiar with. And I've given you, what's this represent? F of 1 equals negative 2. What's that telling me? First term is negative 2. And I need to find the first 5 terms right now. Okay, so we already know the first one, right? F of 1 equals negative 2. So that's done already. I just got to find the next 4. Now I go to the formula. Let me see if I can read the formula correctly. Define any term, take the, what's this notation for? Previous term, and do what? Okay, you understand that, you got the problem now. It's add 5. To find any term, take the previous and add 5. All right, so how can I find the second term? Who wants the second term? Let's go, Carr. How do I find it? Take the previous term, negative 2, and add 5. And I end up with 3. How do you find the third term? Keep following the rule. What have we been doing? Taking the previous term and adding 5. What's it ask? 5 terms? Okay, so we got 2 more. So the 4th term, what was my previous term? 8, add 5. And the 5th term. Take 13 and add 5. Everyone all right? Yes? No? I just show it out because that's what they told me in teaching school. Show all your work. What am I asking for in B? This is the only time I'll ask you to go this far. Sorry. Find the 20th term. You guys already know the pattern, right? It's what every time? Add 5, so it should go pretty quick now. So go ahead. Find the 20th term for me. And you don't have to write out 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right? You guys can, if you know any tricks here, go ahead. All right, but again, you know you're adding 5 every time. Got it? Do you? Oh. What are we coming up with? 93? What's I got a 95 here. I got a 93. 90 what? 90 get out of the class. 98. How did we get 98? You start from -2, remember? Yeah. 93. And I don't, what is wrong with that 3? That's what happens when you don't look at the board. All right. Hey, tomorrow, if you're here, hopefully, quick shortcut, real quick shortcut, how to get to that 93 real quick. And some of you I saw were playing around in your calculators. You saw maybe a little pattern that you didn't have to go, oh, here's the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and go all the way to the 20th. There is a shortcut, which I'll show you tomorrow. Okay? All right. Here we go. We're number 4. Let's get more crazy. Find the first 4 terms. They gave us the, what's this denotation for? First term is 5. Great. All right, how do I find the next ones then? Well, look at the recursive formula they had given me. Ready? To find the next term, n plus 1, what do I have to do? 2 times, what's that mean in this context here? To find the next term, take 2 times the, what's that mean now? Look back if you need to. If these two are paired up, take the previous term and add 7. That's how I find any term now. I take 2 times the, and again, a subscript n in this case means previous. And then don't be confused with the n greater than or equal to 1. That just means, hey, you can't have negative terms. All right, you can't have, hey, what's the negative 3rd term? All right, that's what it's saying. All right, so need some help. How do I find what the second term is using that formula? 2 times previous term, 5 plus 7. So we end up with 17. Yep. Third term. 2 times 17 plus 7. Always using the previous term. And getting 41. And fourth term. 2 times 41 plus that 7, 89. We okay? How we? Yes, Hannah. What?
When we get these, do you want us to just like solve and write them down, or do you want us to actually sequence it and like put it in?
The only thing I really need from you, Hannah, is making sure you do the right notation. So I know that this 17 is definitely the second term. Do I need to see any of this in there? Not necessarily, no. Okay, but yes, I do need to see the notation that tells me what term you're working on. All right, we're all right. We got 2 more to go. And it's going to get difficult, I'm sorry. You guys are in a roll now. You're like, all right, I'm starting to pick this up. No? You're starting to pick it up. You had drama queen in the back there. You're starting to pick it up. All right, here's the problem now. All right, let's take a look. Find the first 3 terms. Oh, that's not bad, 3 terms. First term's already what? -2, all right. All right, here we go. Deep breath. Ready? Read this sequence, read this recursive formula for me. To find the next term, we do 5 times the, what's this again? Okay, you guys are starting to see when it's matched up with n plus 1, that represents previous term. So that's not too bad, right? So I'm going to take 5 times the previous term and add, ooh boy, 2n. And that n is not a subscript. Okay, that n is not a subscript. All right, so ready? Let me go through the second term with you right now. So do the first half. To find the second term, I take the previous and multiply it by 5. Ready? So 5 was previous term, times -2 plus 2 times, all right, let's talk about this now. Your value of n. Ready? Don't make sure that doesn't move anywhere. What term are we on right now? The second term, right? And this meant my previous term. So if I'm ready, if I'm on the second term, what was the previous term? If I'm on the second term, what was the previous term? The first term, correct? So what number must have gone in for n to represent the first term? 1. Okay, let me do that again. I'm going to do it a couple times. We're on the second term, everybody, right? This one right here, just a sub n, that represents the previous term. If we're on the second term, that would have represented the first term. So what number would have been plugged in for that subscript to give me the first term? 1. Okay, so that's why that's going to be 1. One more time, ready? What term are we on? Second term. Okay? Or you could think of it this way. If we're on the second term, what number would I have to plug in for n here to get 2, a subscript of 2? Think of it this way right here. We're on the second term right now. What number would I have to plug in for n here to get me a subscript of 2? 1. Everyone see that? So the n value is 1. So let's keep going. We still got a third term to do too. Or do I end up getting here? -10 plus 2? -8? Okay, let's see if we get the third term here. Ready? Go with me here. 5 times previous term. -8, good. Plus 2 times now the n value. Well, I'm on the third term. So what must I have plugged in for that subscript of n to get a third term down here? 2. Okay, I was on this hey, I'm on the third term right here, a sub 3. So I must have plugged in a 2 for n to get 3. -40 plus 4, -36. Questions? Any comments or concerns right now? That's about as tough as they get right there. When I add that n, that's not a subscript. Okay, we're going to get more and more practice with it. Okay. Any questions on where the 1, the 2 going? Okay. Last one together, and then you're on your own. Find the first 5 terms. Well, what's the first term? 4. And notice what they give us as well. Woo, woo. Look at us. They give us the first and the second term here. We're almost there. We're almost there. All right, well, how am I going to find the third term then? The third term. Well, let's look at our recursive formula that was given. Let's see if we can read it. Ready? To find any term, I'm taking the good, nice, previous term, which would be what in our case right now? If I'm on the third term, take the previous term, which was 3x, let's keep reading it, plus 4 times, whoa, and minus 2. Where do you think I go for that? I got previous. This is going to be second previous. I like it, though. I like it. Two terms before that. Yes. The term before the previous. There you go. Does everyone see that? So I'm going to take the previous term and adding 4 times the one before that, which would be what in our case right now? Read it through. Previous term plus 4 times the term before that one. And I end up with 3x plus 16. Can I go any further? You know who's going to go further is you and your group right now to find me the 4th and 5th term now. Okay? Come on. Thank you.
Am I ever going to be called by my name?
What?
Am I ever going to be called by my name?
We'll see how you do this unit.
Okay.
All right.